This is Mr. Bottomline, a community for people who take their money seriously. Not experts, not advisors, just people who want to be the financial pillar of their family and do it right. This is how we build it together. Until I was 29, I had no savings, none. I had a job, I had income, and I had nothing to show for it. Every month ended the same way, either exactly at zero or slightly past it. If I had lost my job any given month, and there were months where that was a real possibility, I was two, maybe three paychecks from being completely broke. This is not a dramatic statement. That's just math. And the thing that still disturbs me about it is the I didn't know. I thought it was fine. I was young, earning, spending, living. The poverty was invisible. It was structural. It was baked into the way that I operated. The way most people find personal finance is through a crisis. Mine was the slow motion kind. So I went in deep. Term insurances first, because I had people depending on me and no safety net whatsoever. Then SIPs, because I finally understood that wealth is made very slowly, mostly by people who started boring investments when they were young enough for compounding to work. I read everything. I went through the basics, then deeper than the basics. And what I found again and again was none of this is very complicated. The fundamentals of personal finance are not hard to understand, but understanding them and actually living them, that's two completely different things. The knowledge is available, the behavior is very rare. I want to tell you about when I started running. I couldn't do 200 meters continuously, not even 100 some days. I would start, make it a short distance and stop, walk a bit, now try again. This went on for a couple of years. 1 full kilometer without stopping, without mixing in a walk, without needing a break. Felt genuinely out of reach. 3 years later, I've run close to 5,000 kilometers in over 3 years. Here is what running taught me about money. And it's the same lesson, word for word. The boring stuff is the whole game. You cannot skip it. You cannot shortcut it. And it will not feel like progress for a long time. In running, you don't feel like a runner at 200 meters. You think you're just not built for this. In investing, when your SIP doesn't seem to be doing anything visible for the initial few years, you think wealth must be made in some other way. Some formula you haven't found yet, some opportunity you keep missing. So you pull the money out, you live in the day. Both are the same trap, the trap of mistaking visible movement for actual progress. Running taught me that progress at the beginning is almost entirely invisible. You're building capacity that will only show up later. Wealth works exactly the same way. Set something aside, however small, for your future self. Put it in an investment account, then leave it alone. That is not a simplification. That is the entire strategy in the beginning. The boring stuff. Every single time.
There's something that I had realized about myself. I think this is something that most people have to realize about themselves. See, wealth creation is not an intelligence problem. It is a behavioral problem. I've known MBAs who does not have a term insurance policy, who does not even know what a term insurance policy is. And I also know people who manage massive departments spanning hundreds and even thousands of people. And they manage crores of budgets, but they've never even for one day sat down to plot their P&L to understand how their personal finances work. It's not because they can't, but because they haven't had to yet. See, I think financial independence is just like running. You just realize it the hardest way possible. You just do the same things, boring, unsexy decisions, invest first, spend later, and keep the rest for rainy days. Financial clarity doesn't come from knowledge. I think it comes from conditioning. And it often comes in the form of some wake-up call. I got mine very gradually. For some people, especially the extremely risky, haphazard people, it appears all at once, and that's when life becomes very difficult. That's when you realize that this is truly a conditioning problem, and this is truly a behavioral problem, and knowledge perhaps has very limited things to do here. When you get to the other side of the conditioning, when the behavioral actually starts setting in, everything changes for you. The life changes for you.
Once I was on the other side of this understanding, once I had built some habits, some clarity, some foundation, I started noticing something. The tools weren't there, not properly. For someone like me, not a financial expert, not a numbers person by training, but someone who takes their money very seriously, the toolkit for living a financially stable life had wide open spaces in it. The tools for retirement planning, for goal-based wealth creation, or first just keeping track in a way that wasn't punishing. They existed in fragments, never as a coherent whole. Apps built for the wrong person, advice built for someone with a financial advisor, products built to sell you something, nothing built simply for someone who just wants to be responsible, stay on track, and not have to think about it twice every morning. So I decided to build. I'm not a techie myself. I understand technology reasonably well and have access to tools, AI tools to be specific, that makes it possible to build things that 5 years ago would have required a team. So I started. The intent is very simple. Build the things that a person like me needs, not for a generic user. For me specifically, and for the people who think about money the way I do, who take it seriously, but don't want to take over their life, who want to be responsible without being obsessive. The first thing I built is called MBL PFin, and it starts where everything in personal finance has to start, with tracking, knowing where your money goes, every rupee in, every rupee out. The reason most people abandon expense tracking is fiction, the effort of entering data every single time. So I built it around voice. You speak, it logs, that's the whole mechanic. A voice AI expense tracker, built for Indian spending, rupee first, no bank connection. Your data stays with you and it is fully encrypted. This is the foundation, the basic, and we cannot skip the basic.
Here's what I believe about money and community. 10 plus 10 is never 10. Not when the right 10 meets another 10 of a similar kind. You know, when people who are very serious about their financial life come together, share their knowledge, share what their mistakes, and build on each other's knowledge, what we get is not addition, it's multiplication. The 10 can become 100, thousands. It depends on who the 10 are and what they are willing to put in. You know, what I want to build is not an audience, but a community of people who are the financial pillars of their families. The one that everyone leans onto when the times are tough. The one who does the job more thoughtfully, more precisely, with a lot of clarity and with less anxiety. So if you're one such person who assumes responsibility in family by yourself, the one who thinks that, you know, is the term insurance right? Is the SIP amount enough for us to cover for our rainy days? Then this application is for you. You're going to be a part of the community that I'm building, and we're going to share and build things together. Now, here is what I mean when I say community. I don't just make you guys use the application that I'm building. I'm going to listen to your feedback very seriously. I'm going to run open calls, conversations, where you can tell me what is missing that you need, what's broken, what needs to be fixed, what we should focus on in the roadmap. Everything, we're going to do it together. So you're not just the user, you're actually the co-builder. That's not just a tagline. That's actually the model. MBL PFin starts as a voice AI expense tracker. That's the basic. And I honestly feel that we cannot skip the basic, right? Every layer of financial intelligence that we're going to build on top of it has to sit on the foundation of all of us knowing where our money is going. So hence, we start from there, together. Signing off until we meet next, Mr. Bottomline.